In the words of Doug DeMuro, this is a Chevrolet Bolt. It's a 2017 Chevrolet Bolt EV, Premier trim. It belongs to my partner. And this is the second video in the Re-Energize Orion. That's the name of this car. Our goal with this series is to take an older EV and spend the money on it that you might ordinarily squirrel away for a deposit on a newer, more expensive model, and see if we can make this car feel like, well, not $1 million, but make it feel better than it was when we first bought it used. As part of this series, we've got a whole stream of different things that we're going to do to the car. We already told you those in our first video, so I'm not going to repeat myself here. The next video in this series is going to be all about installing Comma AI and getting this car doing semi-autonomous driving. If you've already seen a recent video we did, you may have seen this car already do that, and yes, it's already installed. But today we're going to talk about ceramic coating, and I'm not an expert on ceramic coating, but my car does need a wash. So what I'm going to do is hand over to Jason, who is the owner of Fresh Start Detail here in Portland, Oregon. He's going to talk you through some of the basics of ceramic coating. And while he's chatting, I'm going to show you how much easier ceramic coating can make the process of cleaning your car. So I've got my wellies on, I've got my hoodie, my bucket's over there. Let's get on with it.
Oh, my name is Jason Barker, owner of Fresh Start Detail, and I started this business in '95 and have been here ever since, just doing car detailing and ceramic coating for Beaverton area, Portland area customers. The process in getting a car ready for sale, pre-sale detail it's called in our industry, is the first thing is obviously just cleaning it. And I mean thoroughly, not just a car wash or a in the backyard type wash. We're talking with a toothbrush, we're talking clay on the paint, which gets rid of contaminants, everything to get it as clean as possible. And then there's inside detailing, which is vacuuming everything, steam cleaning the carpets, cleaning the leather, the door jambs, everything inside, the windows, the headliner. We are cleaning it meticulously, okay? Then outside, same thing. Super thorough cleaning, getting the wheels clean, getting down there on your hands and knees with a toothbrush, scrubbing the paint, getting the bugs off, clean, sap, things like that on the paint, get it all off. Then it comes inside for the real work. And this is the fun part for us detailers, because this is when it starts to transform. And so we polish the paint, which is what brings it from a hazy mess to just as much gloss as we can get. And then sealing it with either a ceramic coating or a wax, depending on what the car needs the most. And that's what we're shooting for, is curb appeal. So what ceramic coating is and what it isn't. It is a great coating that helps protect the paint. But to dispel some myths, what it is not, it does not make the paint bulletproof. Okay, it can still be scratched. Now it does resist scratching a little bit, but you can't just say it's not going to be scratched, okay? So it doesn't make it bulletproof. Things can still get on your paint. So for example, the most common thing is because a car that's been ceramic coated is so easy to wash, a lot of people will be tempted to just hose it off because it'll take most of the dirt and dust off. Hose it off and then walk away. You still have to dry it off. You still have to use common sense practices for washing a car, and that's because the minerals that are in that water out of your hose will still be sitting on your paint, and they will still adhere to the ceramic coating. Now, they're easy to take off, but they'll still be there. So there's a common misconception that nothing's ever going to stick to a ceramic coating. That's just not true. It makes it much better, but you can still damage a ceramic coating. So the process of ceramic coating, first off, is you're adding a product to the clear coat surface that actually becomes part of the clear coat. So this is different than wax, where wax and sealants lay on top of the clear coat and protect it that way, but then they slough off over time. Ceramic coating, it makes a chemical reaction with the clear coat that actually becomes part of it. And so it makes it thicker, and it's harder. So it reduces scratches, reduces acids from bird poop and tree sap and stuff like that. So that's what ceramic coating is in a nutshell. To apply it, you just need to prep the paint properly, which means clean, decontaminated, no microscopic little holes in the paint from contamination, iron contamination, things like that, and then applying the coating to it. So the benefits of ceramic coating from an environmental point of view are, there's myriad reasons. I'll hit the top couple. First off, it's easier to wash your car, and you wash it less frequently. So washing, especially in the southern United States or anywhere in the world that there's more water restrictions, it's really important to not use as much water. Well, if you're washing your car less frequently, you're using less water. And if it's easier to wash, you're using less water. So that's like the first reason. The other thing is, the longer you keep your factory paint, you won't have to repaint it. Well, repainting, as you can imagine, is not particularly environmentally friendly, spraying paint, okay? And plus it's expensive. So from an environmental standpoint, those are the two things. Why pay a professional to get ceramic coating over DIY? I wish you were here yesterday, because we had a perfect example in the shop. There's nothing wrong with DIYing. I started out as a DIY detailer, okay? So there's nothing wrong with that. But to kind of know your limits and know your skill of what you're doing, if you try to DIY it and you don't prep the paint properly or use the incorrect product, you're gonna make a mess. And the biggest problem is you can't just say, well, I tried it, I'll start over. Because of that chemical reaction I spoke about, it's permanent. So if you don't apply it properly and then bring it to a professional like me to fix it, it's gonna cost you at least triple just to get it prepped to then do it properly. So if you're gonna do DIY, talk to a professional first and have them help you with the basics, and that will make it much, much easier. Otherwise, like anything else, whether it's remodeling your bathroom or painting your house, paying the professionals that do it all the time, although it sometimes seems expensive, in the long run, you're gonna save money and you're gonna have a better job. And then if something happens to it, you have someone like me to come back to, and you can say, hey, Jason, fix this. That's one of the biggest benefits.
There you go. I reckon that was about 30 minutes, give or take. Before I close out this video, I do want to clarify a few things, kind of important things. The first thing is, we didn't get a special deal from Fresh Start Detail for putting a ceramic coating on this car. We're just talking about our experience here because we enjoyed it, and someone is shooting in the background. Don't worry, it's the country. That happens sometimes, probably gophers or something like that. The second thing is, in terms of cost, we paid about $1,000 to have this ceramic coated and to have the interior of the car professionally detailed. The interior needs a clean right now. I've just cleaned the outside, so I'll do the inside at a future date. And there's no special chemicals that were applied inside the car. It was just a really, really good interior detail, got rid of any dog hair, any crud, and got the interior back to like new condition. That's why we paid a little bit more than we would have paid just for the ceramic coating alone. The third thing I want to point out is the ceramic coating on this car is about the softest of the ceramic coatings that were available to us at the time. The reason for that is we could have gone with one of the more expensive ceramic coatings, which has a longer life and you don't have to have it recoated as frequently. That's what we had done to the F-150 Lightning behind me. But for this, for a used car, it doesn't really make sense to have a really high-end, super hard ceramic coat applied to your car, especially if the paint is not in great condition. And in the case of this car, there are some paint chips on the hood that we didn't get fixed before we had the ceramic coat. The reason being is we wanted to protect the paint and keep the paint in the condition it was at that point, rather than spend a lot of extra money having fancy paintwork correction done, which would have pushed up the cost considerably. Of course, in about 2-3 years' time, the opacity of this ceramic coat will start to lessen, and that's because this is a cheaper ceramic coat. On the F-150 Lightning behind me, that coat is guaranteed for 5 years or more. I can't remember if it was 5 or 8 year, but it's a significant warranty period, not so much with this. But again, if you're buying a used car and you're spending money on a used car, you're probably going to spend less on it than you would if it was brand new, which is why we made the decision we made. I should also note that paint protection film might have been a good option for us. We didn't opt to have paint protection film again because there was already significant stone chips to the front of the car. If we had a car with a less chipped front end, we probably would have had paint protection film applied and then a ceramic coat, or in conjunction with a ceramic coat. That would have obviously pushed the price up, but that wasn't something we wanted to do at the time. I think in hindsight, certainly with my F-150 Lightning, I would now go back and have asked myself to put paint protection film on, because I know my F-150 Lightning, even with a super, super hard ceramic coat, still has stone chips on it. You can see though that in 30 minutes, we've gone from a pretty dirty car into a nice smooth car. There's no residual nastiness on the hood here, and it looks great. It looks much younger than the car actually is. And I don't know about you, but there's something psychological about stepping behind the wheel of a clean car, and it makes you feel good. Certainly if you're going to turn up for an important interview or to a family event, if your car is nice and clean and sparkly, it feels good. In terms of the cleaning, I know some people are going to look at the cleaning and go, what did you do? You didn't do it properly. I did rush, I don't mind admitting. Normally with ceramic coatings, what you have to do is you rinse it down, rinse all the gunk off, then you use a special cleaner, which I put in a bucket with some water. You wash it bit by bit by bit, and then you use a dry towel to immediately dry off the area you've just cleaned. If I was going to do this super carefully on a newer vehicle that didn't have quite so much paint damage on it, I would probably have used multiple towels, I do when I'm doing my truck, and multiple mitts just to make sure everything stays clean and there's no contamination. But for this car, the way I cleaned it in that particular instance, I'm happy with it. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. Finally, so much less wastage. There's no soapy suds rolling down the driveway, which is what we used to have when we used to use old waxy based cleaning products. There's no wax involved in this, and you're left with a wax-like shine. So take it from me. I prefer ceramic coating to doing a hard waxing every now and then, and I think the end result is pretty darned good. Does it add value to my car? If I went to sell this now, I suspect I would probably get a higher value for it than if I took it dirty, but it certainly increases the value and the enjoyment for me, which is what this series is all about. Keeping your old EV on the road, keeping your old car on the road, and avoiding going to the showroom and buying a new one, which of course is the less environmentally friendly option. If your current model works, why not keep it? And do stick around for the next part of this series. I want to thank Jason and the team at Fresh Start Detail for giving us that interview. I want to thank you all at home for watching, and if you have had your car ceramic coated, tell me about your experiences in the comments below. If you want more, make sure that you subscribe, hit the bell, and follow the links below to regularly support us with a Patreon membership or through a YouTube channel membership. You'll also find links to Ko-fi, Bitcoin, and our swag store, as well as that aforementioned Mastodon server. Come and join us. It's very fun. Scrolling on my right is the list of amazing Charged Up supporters, and shout outs go out to our V2G Patreon supporters. They are Pedro Mora Pinheiro, Alan Tupper, Andrew Martin, Bennett Elder, Brophy Wolf, Chris Maxwell, Cyprian Laplace, Dan Blair, Gordon C, Hay Esker, John Trammell, Kyle Fox, Mark Eggleton, Peter Dillinger, Regine Fellows, Sean Tucker, Stefan Flemgen, Stephen Williams, Tesla in the Gong, Paul Bricknell, Tony Moss, Carl Hodgson, Chris Centaur, Denny Hyde, Lance Schlall, Linda Irish, Mike Weeder, Paul Nelson, and finally, a big thanks to our off-grid supporters. They are Paul Conway, Kevin Burrowbridge, Stephen O'Donoghue, Jim Burness, Robert Flannery, Aaron Hahn, Ellery Hansley, Rory Litwin, JP Fagerback, Dave Kitchen, Andrew Glenn, Chris and Michael Johnson, Clay Witt, CPU Freak 101, Eric Knack, Joe Bresney, Joe Hughes, John Henderson, Laura Reynolds, Marcel Ward, Matthew Drobnak, Nigel S, Reggie Watts, Will Graylin, and of course, Ian. I do apologise for the gunshots in the background. I do live in the country, and I must admit, I don't mind hearing gunshots out here in the country because it probably means someone's shooting gophers. When I hear a gunshot in a city, I have a very different reaction. I hope that that was not traumatic for you, and if it was, I do apologise. We'll try and make sure that we remember to put a warning at the beginning of the video, just in case you are sensitive to such things. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Don't forget we produce content Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday on this channel, and then at the weekend over on Take 2 for our Sunday Musing and Chicken and Garden update, which is filmed right here. Thanks for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your day, and as always, keep evolving.